හරිද?
දැන් කරන්න ඕනේ.
ඔව්නේ.
Can you join the
මේක ලින්ක් එක මේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. කොහොමද දාගන්නේ?
Zoom කියලා?
මේක නෑ zoom එක නෑ නැත්තම් පුළුවන් මේක කරා.
which one? බලන්න පුළුවන්.
Okay, zoom එක හදන්න ඕනේ. හරි.
phone.
හරි. හරි.
You can send the Zoom link for the
ඔව්. නම් එක දෙන්නකෝ.
meeting ID.
WhatsApp message කර. නම් එක දෙන්න. නම් එක දෙන්න.
Or
නම් එක දෙන්න.
phone number tell it.
Phone.
075
75
533
533
316
31
65.
3165. Right. Name එක මොකක්ද?
Yadush.
Yadush. Right. Yeah. Right. Send.
ठीक है सर. अरे बड़े
Right.
वीडियो.
Check. Zoom करा. Adjust කරන්න ඕනේ. ස්ක්‍රීන් එක පොඩ්ඩක් අර ෆුල්ම චුට්ටක්. හරි. අපිට. නේ බලමු. ඔළුව කට් වෙන්නේ නැහනේ. කට් වෙනවා. ෂේප් නේ. චුට්ටක් සුම කාරේ. හරි. මේ එදා පොඩි පවර් ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එකක් කළා මේ මැදින් කට් වෙලා ගිය ඔක්කොම ආයි රීජන් එකකට වැඩි අප්සෙට් මේ කරන්ට් ඉෂුව නැතුව ඉන්නේ නැතුව එදත් අර වෙලා තිබ්බා
අර කියන්නත් බෑ.
ඒක තමයි ඒක ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එක හරි ඕකේ මේක රෙකෝඩින් දැන් ස්ක්‍රීන් එක
ඔව්.
ස්ක්‍රීන් එකට දාන්න තියෙන්නේ
Yeah, good. Done.
ඕකේ thank you Okay, hello everyone, all of you, and welcome back to the second day of the Media Sunday online Media Sun. So, I recently sent that PDF for the group. You have to join for the group actually. WhatsApp group අපි send කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක link එකෙන් join වෙන්න. මම මේ අද අපි ඩිස්කස් කරන ලෙසන් එකම ඇඩ් කරලා තියෙනවා WhatsApp group එකට. WhatsApp group එකේ තියෙනවා පොඩි PDF එකක් ඒක download කරගන්න. You have to download that PDF. That PDF belongs to that fourth lesson of the 12th syllabus, fourth lesson. 12th syllabus, fourth lesson is traditional communication, traditional media, mass media, new media, and social media. There are four topics. Today we discuss only that traditional media things and traditional media. What is traditional media? What is traditional media characteristics? And what type of creations that we can see according to the traditional media. That is the point today we discuss. So firstly, we have to download that PDF, and there are 3 pages. And firstly, we discuss that identify traditional media, that thing. And secondly, we discuss about that traditional media characteristics and other things. Traditional media creations belongs to that folklore idea. We discuss about that thing also. So today, the first topic is identify the traditional media things. So firstly, you have to understand fourth lesson. Fourth lesson have 4 topics actually. Recently, that last week we discussed about the 1, 2, 3 lessons of the 12 syllabus, the media. The first lesson is beginning of the communication, that idea, and second lesson foundation of the communication, that idea, and the third lesson communication types, forms, and models, that idea. So third lesson have 3 topics. Fourth lesson have 4 topics. So fourth lesson, first topic, today we discuss. According to that topic, first topic is sub one. First subtopic is traditional communication. What is traditional communication? Traditional communication. Okay. So traditional idea. Uh, if someone asks in the paper also, they ask about what is traditional communication. So communication we know. Last week we discussed about the communication very well. What is communication actually? Communication is exchanging feelings, thoughts, and ideas, information to someone. That is the idea. Nowadays we have so many technologies, advanced technologies, and platforms to share our information to someone. But in the past, they don't have much more communication technologies like now. Okay. In the past, they have so many simple things because in the past, our past peoples, it means that our ancestors, our ideal peoples, have very simple lifestyle, and they always maintain their lifestyles a simple ways, simple needs, simple requirements that they have. In the past, they use only 2 forms they use mainly. First one is the audio form they use. Second form as the video or visual form they used. So actually, in the traditional communication idea, there are 2 forms. First form is this one, audio form. Second one is visual form. They only use these 2 forms to communicate with someone. Okay? Audio communication. You know the hooting, that type of idea we can add to this type of audio forms. Hooting and the voice, that type of ideas. Okay, and the folk poetry, that sometimes they use folk songs, they use that type of idea. Some sounds natural, sometimes artificial, human voice mainly. This type of things are the examples for the audio communication systems. Next thing, visual communication idea. It means that fire, smoke, some symbols, some shapes, that type of ideas, that the visual communication system. So audio and visual systems they mainly use. That's the main two forms of the traditional communication. So traditional means not only old idea, okay? Most of the people think traditional means old, not valued. No. Traditional means not only the old idea. It has a very far expand idea we know, historical idea we know. But traditional means not only the old idea. It has a value, okay? Traditional communication is a valuable idea, but not technological, much more than now. Okay. Now we have so many technological things, no? Television, radio, okay. In new media systems, we have internet computer systems. Now we have social media. Now we have AI systems. Now we have okay. But in the past, they don't have that type of things. Recently, I told you they use only these two types, audio and visual type. In the audio system, they use what thing? Audio system, they use the hooting fire, that type of hooting idea, sorry. Visual system, they use that fire, smoke, that type of fire. Okay. In the paper, if they ask, what is traditional communication? How you explain that? Traditional communication means it's actually an authentic, very simple, eco-friendly system, and it's actually really use the technology. Mostly, there's no any technology. Non-technological, authentic, eco-friendly systems, mainly we can say that type of things are traditional communication systems. What? Authentic, no technological, non-technological, and very simple, eco-friendly systems. That type of things are traditional communication systems. The example, recently I told you that folk poetry systems and folk tales, folk rites and rituals, and folk dramas, that type of things are there. And recently I told you that hooting, fire, smoke, human voice, natural some sounds, horns, that type of ideas, symbols, colors, that type of things are the examples for the traditional communication. Nowadays also we can see that type of traditional things exactly, but not much than the past because now we have so many advanced technological things. No? Sometimes rarely we can see some traditional things, but actually now also we use that thing. It's a valuable thing. No? Recently I told traditional means not only a old idea, it's a valuable idea. That's why we use valuable idea now. So traditional communication. I sent a PDF for you, and you have to download that thing with the WhatsApp group. And the first topic is actually identify traditional media. Okay, identify traditional media. I at that point recently I told you that point. I at that point in the passage. Just read that thing. Actually, you can get that point. Authentic, simple, eco-friendly communication methods and practice that have been used in the past. Okay, and have been broadcasting till today can be introduced as follows. You can highlight that thing. Have to get a printout for that thing and get highlight that thing. Authentic, simple, eco-friendly systems. Okay. And some things we have to add that thing that non-technological idea. No author, that thing also there. Okay. And through this, past humans have done things like teaching, motivation, entertainment. Three things are there. Teaching, it means they guide someone, okay? Teaching, motivation also there. See, motivation. The ideal peoples motivate the next generation, that idea. So motivation is there. And entertainment also there. See, recently I told you that folk poetry, folk tales, folk drama, and sometimes dancing systems also there. They have that all the things are entertaining ideas. Think about that, right? So that three things also there. Okay, now after that thing, that through things past humans have done things like what teaching, motivation, and entertainment. That's the point. After that, but recently I told you that lifestyle very simple. very simple needs, very simple requirements. Actually, their lifestyle very simple. So automatically, traditional communication system also very simple system. That the simplicity is a unique factor that we can see according to the traditional communication system. Very simple. So we have to highlight that point also. Okay. And after that, there are many traditional communication practices in the society and the culture. You know, the past culture, traditional culture depend on that system, simple needs and requirements. That's the point. And but because it's very old, now we know traditional culture is very old. But that old things means not valuable letter. No, no, no. Traditional culture is old, very far expand, but it's valuable. That's why most of the foreigners come to Sri Lanka to see the Perahera or something. Why? It's valuable. Hmm? It's valuable. Some handcrafts are there. Some puppetry in the Ambalangod area, puppetry down south area, and the West dance, Candian dance, that idea, and some products that we have. Hmm? Our systems, our symbols, our some ritual characters, some devil faces, that type of things also traditional type concepts. Okay, and it's very valuable. That's why it's high demand one. Okay, most of the foreigners come to see that thing. They want to see that thing because they are, that countries don't have that type of things. We have that thing. We are actually very heritage, very valuable traditional culture type country, no, in South Asia. Think about that thing. There are many traditional communication practices in society and the culture, no. But because it's very old, okay, very old, yeah, it is difficult to find authorship. See, recently I told you there's no any author we can see. In that point, we can see one idea that ancestors, that ideal peoples never tried to get a any other special privileges, so special way, favoration or something for their creation. They do that thing for the future. Okay, they have a simple system. We know they have a simple requirements. We know. Okay, but they do that thing for the future, not for their lifestyle, not for their life goods. Okay, they always use their values, they always use their knowledge for development of the next generation. It's actually a gift for the next generation. Okay, you know, this type of traditional communication systems is actually a cultural idea. It's transform the next culture, transfer the next culture using one thing. Mainly they use verbal oral transmission system. Oral transmission system. Oral transmission system. Oral transmission is actually in Sinhala we can say the Katavahara Mukha Paramparagata. Okay? Generation to generation, they use that thing, they transform that thing, they transfer that thing using oral communication systems. As an example, we can see that folk poetry, some types of poetry. Some according to the rites and ritual that toil, that you know, that mantra, that type of things. That type of things also comes with that oral communication systems. That's the point. Okay. Now, after that, thing, read next passage, next line. Sorry. In human history of the historical prehistoric era, prehistoric means that's not the stone age idea, but prehistoric means very old one, old years. Okay. Our ancestors' time period, that time period. Prehistoric era. The traditional communication sounds, see, that type of things they use, sounds they use, okay? And sometimes signals they use. Recently I told you. And see, drums, bass, horn, hooting. See, for the audio communication system, I send you that, I recently told you that example for the audio communication system, hooting also there. Horns also there, bass also there, okay? Other thing, horns sometimes they use. And visual signals, what type of things they use? See, visual signals, recently I told you. fire they use for that thing, smoke they use, okay, some signs they use, religious signs, okay. It depend on the nationalities and religions, okay. It depend on the countries, okay, regions, okay. Symbols, signs, colors they use, and according to that thing, smoke, hanging green leaves, okay, flags, and some markings also there. Have been used some of the special features of this communication process are as follows. That's the point. So think about identify the communication system, not only same communication, simple communication system. This communication system is traditional communication system. Traditional is not only an old thing. Yeah, we know it's old, but traditional communication system is not only an old thing, it's a very valuable thing. It comes with that old ideas, our ancestors' ideas, our ideal people's ideas. That is the value because we don't have that type of knowledge now. That's why we use that knowledge from that ancestors, from that ideal peoples. That's the thing. So think about after that thing. In the paper, they ask about the what are the characteristics of the traditional communication or what are the characteristics of that primary communication system? You know, primary communication system also same idea about the traditional communication idea. Traditional communication system use audio and visual things, no? Mainly audio and visual systems. Okay, no? Audio and visual systems. Traditionally, they use. That samely we can say primary communication system. Primary communication system also same like for this type of traditional communication system. Primary also that hooting, fire, that type of things. Traditional communication also hooting, fire, that type of thing. Same idea. So if in the paper they ask about the primary communication, don't worry about that thing. That also the same like traditional communication. That the thing. So all of you think about in the paper they ask about the characteristic of that traditional communication. Don't worry about that. Recently I told you 3-4 characteristics, just like authentic, okay, and eco-friendly and non-technological and very simple and there's no any author we can see anonymous, sometimes unknown. We don't know who are the developers of the folk poetry, who are developers of the folk tales, who are developers of the folk rites and rituals. We don't know. That is the point. After that thing, we can see this type of characteristic. I add that thing for the PDF. Please read that thing with me. For the first thing, first characteristic in here, simple structure is there. Simple structure. Simple structure means recently I told you this type of traditional communication systems always use simple needs and requirements from the ancestors. No? So think about simple structure means they always use simple experiences, simple examples, simple language, simple flow, simple rhythm. Okay, simple movements to develop some dance items or something. So think about simple structure means what thing? They always use everyone know this everyone knows language. It means that active language they use, but some are deactive type languages. Deactive type languages mostly we can see in regional forms. Okay. Regionally, we can see this type of deactive type languages. Most of the folk poetry type things, folk tales type things depend on this deactive type idea. So, but they are needs and requirements, very needs and requirements. Okay, very simple things, no? Okay. According to that point, according to that point, traditional communication also become a simple structure idea. This is I told you, simple language they use, language they use, okay, simple format they use, okay, simple rhythms they use, and simple experiences they used. So that type of ideas we can see according to the simple structure ID. It belongs to that, this type of things belongs to the folk poetry, folk tales, folk rites and rituals, that type of idea. All the things depend on the what thing, all the things depend on what thing, simple needs and requirements, simple language. All are know that language, so anyone can understand that thing without any age limit, no problem. Anyone can understand that. That is the idea in here, okay? After that, we explain that thing, but in the passage, but just get the idea. Simple structure means simple words, simple examples, simple rhythm, format that they use. Second one, thematic content, thematic content, thematic content, thematic content, contents, theme, theme. Theme means they always use one, two topics. It belongs to that folk poetry, folk tales, rites and rituals, that type of ideas. Themes. What type of themes they use? Sometimes they believe the gods. Sometimes they believe unhuman characters. Sometimes they worship the sun, moon, some rocks, some trees. You know, in Sri Lanka also we can see that in Sri Lanka is a very heritage type, traditional culture type country. No? India also same like that. Other countries also same like that. Okay. Sometimes they worship to the environment. It's a theme. Okay. And the harvesting thing or something, they always looking for the goods, no? Harvesting, agriculture film. Agriculture means actually agro farming systems, rural areas. So what type of themes they use in the folk poetry? Sometimes folk tales, sometimes folk drama and that type of things. They sometimes use happiness, happy. Sometimes sadness they use. Sometimes sensitivity they use, sensitivity they use, sensitivity they use. Sometimes they use the brave ideas, that type of things they use. And after that, thing, sometimes they use uh, some blessing ideas. Blessings are there. According to the rites and rituals, blessings are blessings are there. Blessings are there. That's the point. So think about that type of things are the themes according to the thematic content idea. So, themes in the past and after that in the passage we discuss about that idea also, but mainly that protection of crops, protection of any diseases, protection of any other things that according to harvesting things or any other diseases. So, day-to-day life things or sorrows, joys, happiness, brave ideas, fear, sensitivity, humanity, all the things they use as a thematic idea, theme idea. Think about that. Okay. That's the second thing. Third one, flexibility. 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 Flexibility means what thing? Flexibility. Flexibility means that කරන්න. මේ ඕනම ක්‍රමයකට කියන එක anytime, anywhere, we can change the structure according to the occasion, according to the situation. That's the point. Okay, flexibility. In the past, so many folk poetry ideas, folk tales, Okay. Folk stories, no, folk tales means, okay. And some beliefs are there. Beliefs are there. These all things depend on what type of themes or something, some incidents, some experience, that type of things. So this all the things now also we can see sometimes. Folk stories, according to our grandmothers, grandfathers, they told us some stories in the past of childhood. They also explain this type of characters, this type of gods, this type of devils, this type of kings and queens, that type of animals also there. That all the things now also we can use for our anything, our any goods, anything. We can change the structure anytime, anywhere. Now also we can use that thing for our children, so our society. Sometimes we can use that type of ancient incidents for the new film or something, new TV series or something. You can see some cartoons, graphical things, animated movies also, according to the past incidents, past historical things, historical characters also we can see. So that type of things we can use nowadays also. That is the flexibility. That is the flexibility. That is the idea. So think about that thing. Huh? And flexibility. You can get the so many examples. Like in Sri Lanka, we can see that ancient characters they use. Recently, not recently actually, there's a film they have to release that thing. It's a Mahasona. The Hemal Ranasinghe acting there. Jayanta Chandrasekhari's production, directing that film. That belongs to that Mahasona character in the past. We know that character, very unhuman character, but they use that character as a new film character. Okay, they restructure that character now and they redevelop the idea now. And the past another film in there, Garasarapa, that also directed by the Jayanta Chandrasekhari. In that Garasarapa movie, have the Kalukumar, that character, they use that idea, they rebuild up, reconstruct that idea, and develop a new concept according to that past idea. So that is the another thing. Other things, Queenie, Ravana, that type of words also, that have characters also there. They use that characters, some creators nowadays also, they use that characters to develop, newly develop some songs, teledramas, that type of things. So think about that is the flexibility idea. You can see some India also, they use so many god characters, devil characters for the new films. They always believe the ghosts. They always believe the environmental things, rocks and trees, sun, moon, that type of things. But they use that concept nowadays also for their new products. That is the flexibility idea. Flexibility means you can use this type of ancient thing for the new things also nowadays. You can change structure anytime, anywhere. That's the flexibility idea. Next one, what thing? Cultural context. Cultural context. Okay. Cultural context. Cultural context. Firstly, you have to understand what is culture. Fifth lesson we have to discuss about the culture thing. Fifth lesson is culture and the impact of media. So culture and the impact of media, that idea. First, you have to understand what is culture. What is culture? According to the fifth lesson, we can say some point, but just we can say culture is depend on the connections and the relationships according to the society. Okay, it depends on the society development. The communication can develop the connections. It means the relationships. That relationships can develop the culture. Okay, it's actually step by step work. So culture is depend on the society development. It's a very flexible idea, and culture is a state distortion or in a state of recovery. That is the point. And culture suddenly sometimes change. Okay, but according to that culture, we can see so many things. contextual ideas. Second lesson, in the second lesson, foundation of the communication idea, we discussed one of nature according to communication, like contextual. Communication is a contextual idea. Communication is a contextual idea. So the communication is contextual idea. According to that thing, we can see so many things: language, technology, some of the medias we can see, words we can see, experiences we can see. So many things are there. That is the point. So understand that idea. Culture context means culture have so many things, no language, experience, that type of things. No? That type of things we can use to develop the traditional things. Okay, traditional things. It means what thing? It means what thing? This type of cultures can develop what type of things? Traditional culture, traditional communication systems. No? It means the words, okay, words, okay. Some systems they have ancient systems, okay. Sometimes some knowledge we can use, knowledge we can use, and some experiences we can use. Some characters are there. That type of things are the culture contextual idea. So context is the background, surrounding, background, environment idea. That type of things can develop traditional culture, traditional communication systems. The folk poetry, folk tales, folk rites and rituals, and folk drama, that type of things, all the things depend on the what thing? This type of what thing? Culture context ideas. That's the idea. That's the point. So after that thing, that's the fourth one. Culture context is background. Every country have a that type of unique culture. That culture can develop so many traditional communication systems. That's the point. But I think last one, according to this, so many things are there, but according to this thing, minimum cost is the last idea. Minimum cost means what idea? Minimum cost. Minimum cost. Minimum cost. Minimum cost means low price thing, but low price means not value thing. No, no. එහෙම නෙවෙයි කියන්නේ. Low cost means what thing? It's actually natural idea and traditional communication always depend on the nature. No? So we can get some support from the nature, environment. So many things we can get that thing from environment, nature. We don't want to buy anything for huge cost or something. We don't want anything from any other places, marketplace or something. All the things are dependent on the nature, environment. So all things are dependent on the nature. It means minimum cost, low cost. We don't want to pay much more money for anything, any companies, any institution, any marketplace. No. Okay? No. That is the idea. So think about minimum cost means we don't want to pay much more money for any other marketing type things. All are depend on the nature. All are depend on the environment. That is the thing. That's why it's become a low cost idea. That's why it become a low cost idea. That's the thing. Okay. After that thing, minimum cost. So according to that thing, low cost thing have another two ideas. It means according to the low cost idea, how it happens actually. Traditional communication become a low cost idea according to its eco-friendly systems. It means traditional communication, if someone use, it means hooting, fire, folk poetry, folk tales, that type of, if someone use, it's never harmful for the society, it's never harmful for the environment. Never. Because these all things depend on the environment. These all things belongs to the environment. So the ancient people, our ancestors, they always use this type of systems for for the future goods, blessing for someone, okay, and protection, okay, sharing their knowledge to the next generation, only for that thing, not for any other type of harmful things. That's why it become a very eco-friendly system. No any harmful thing for society. Automatically it become a low cost because all things depend on the environment. That's the thing. Okay. After the thing, no author thing also there. No authorship idea. No authors. No author means what thing that we can't see a creator, a originator, or a developer according to the folk poetry idea. We don't know. We don't know. Poetry. We don't know. Folk tales. Who developed this folk tales? We don't know. Who developed these rites or rituals? Okay. We don't know. Okay. And who developed this folk drama system? Sometimes that in Sri Lanka we can see the Sokari Kolam Nadagam, that thing we can use. That's thing for the example for the drama thing, okay? And according to that idea, South India, mm, South India, they transferring their culture for our culture because that we have that type of connections in the past. No? කාලිංග මාර්ග චෝල පාණ්ඩ according to history අපි දන්නවනේ අර ආක්‍රමණය කරා කියලා in that time according to that thing that type of cultures come to Sri Lanka also but sometimes we can't see a create a name. Some things have a name, but why they develop that is sometimes it's a question mark in there. So think about it. So this type of things we don't know some creators' names, no. That's why no author. Actually, recently I told you why they don't try to put the names according to under the folk poetry, under the folk tale, or under the rites or rituals. Why? Actually, they develop this type of things only for the common goods, only for the betterment of that country, betterment of the society, betterment of the environment, only for that thing, blessing for the everything. Okay, not for the commercial value, not for the self development or self things or something. Actually, I think it's satisfaction. They always try to develop this type of things for the satisfaction. Satisfaction. Satisfaction is the only thing. They develop some blessing type ideas. After that, they satisfied. Wow, we develop this system for the best, for the good, for the society. No, some people get that thing, read that thing, or use that thing. It's actually really helpful for their lifestyle. After that, it's something like a good thing. No, think about that. So that's why it's the idea. Okay, no author. So first thing, according to this thing, first thing. First one, simple structure. Structure. Simple structure. Second thing, what thing? Thematic content. Thematic content. Third one. First is flexibility. Fourth one, culture context. Cultural context. Okay. Next one, last one, minimum cost. Low cost also same like that. Minimum cost, low cost ideas. That's the thing. So minimum cost, low cost ideas. Additionally, I give 2 points. What are the additional 2 points? You can see like that. What? First point is what? Eco-friendly system. Eco-friendly other system. Other thing is what? Other thing is what? Eco-friendly. Other thing is no author, no authorship. We don't know. No authorship. That's the point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are there. And additionally, we can see this type of things also. Actually, this one, I try to tell that thing. Okay, this one, and this one, both are more actually connected. Okay, have a connection between this type of things. Okay, eco-friendly automatically connect with the minimum cost idea because minimum cost depend on the eco-friendly systems. And next thing, I try to read that thing. Next thing is what thing? We can get some materials. Okay, materials, materials from the society, from the environment freely. No, freely we can get some materials from the environment, nature. Okay, environment, nature. That is the additional factor. Additional factor. So 8 things are there. 8 characteristics we can see according to that thing. First thing, what? Simple structure. Second thing, thematic content. Third thing, according to this, flexibility. Fourth one, cultural context. Fifth one, minimum cost. Sixth one, eco-friendly. Seventh one, authorship. No authorship. Huh? No authorship. Next one, eighth one, we can get some materials. If you want to decorate some area according to a folk drama, folk dancing thing, or whatever it is, rites and ritual, that type of things also. Toilo that the other toile sarasana could pavichikaran. Decorate, if you want to decorate some area, you have to use what type of things? This type of environmental nature type things. Flowers, trees, some leaves, that type of things we can use. That's the point. Think about that idea. Okay. So after that thing, okay. Now we have to explain this thing. In the paper, if they ask to compare this type of 2 types of characteristics from the traditional communication or something, think about. So simple structure, thematic content, this type I add some passages for this idea, okay? And simple structure. The first thing, simple structure. Just read with me. You have the handout if you have the handout. Okay, just use the PDF. Simple structure. They are formed of simple structures that could be understood by ordinary people. Okay, traditional simple structures are intended to be understood by ordinary people. Result or do. Everyone can understand something means that is a simple structure. Ordinary people means that idea. Okay. Everyone means common people. Okay. Public. Some people have the good literacy. Some people don't have that much literacy. But it's not a problem according to this type of simple structure in the traditional communication system. Folk poetry or folk tales or whatever it is, that type of things we can use in a simple format. It means all the people can understand that thing. Okay. Ordinary people means that idea. Okay. That's not a class difference. No, no. Anyone can understand means there's no any class differences without any class differences. We can observe in traditional media simple structures built out of easily found resources that are not complex. See, not complex with a simple idea, simple words, simple experiences, simple format, simple ideas we use. That's why recently told you experiences also there. Are that the rural social and cultural relations in the traditional society? For example, what the use of materials such as the magosa leaves, for decorations, huh? Magosa leaves, banana trees. Recently we have the Pongal, Hindu culture, very good traditional example for this thing. Banana trees they use. For the Hindu weddings, that they decorate that thing with the banana trees. Hmm. For the various of traditional methods of the communication, because traditional communication is often, see what thing? As I told you, eco-friendly. Eco-friendly. Eco-friendly means no harmful things for the environment. Always it's help to the environment. It's always protect the environment. Also, according to the any other type of communication system, no problem. Out that thing. Um, because of traditional communication is often eco-friendly, and because it was formed in the authentic village environment. It means it belongs to the rural communication system. Rural. There are very simple and easy words in the poem. See, simple words we can see in the poem. That is the idea about the simple structure. And the stories for dramas or and poems are there. That is the point. Think about that. So that's the simple structure idea. After that thing, we can see the thematic content idea. Thematic content idea. Recently we discussed about that thing, but we have to write down something in there. This means the preparation of the content to fit the traditional methods of communication. Okay? It means the preparation of the content to fit the traditional methods of communication. That's the point. A few related examples are protections from diseases also there. Protection of crops. We have to highlight that thing, huh? Crops. And expressing beliefs also there. Entertainments, rest, and emotions also there. Okay. Other than these can be seen a lot of folk beliefs. Beliefs means actually depend on the society, depend on that religion ideas, depend on that cultural ideas. It's depend on that differences of the areas, regions, countries, that type of ideas. Okay, you have to highlight that thing. Huh? And in Shantikam, in single way, we called it Shantikam. In India, Hindu culture also have this thing. Other cultures also have this thing. But this idea, Shantikam, Shantikam means as a blessing idea. It's depend on the sometimes protection of diseases, protection of crops, protection of any other type unhuman activities. And they believe the ghosts and sometimes devils, sometimes ghosts. But Shantikar, sometimes that type of characters can affect to the humans, no? Peoples, no? Same innocent pupils. In that time, we arrange Shanti Karma thing. For what thing? That person, protect that person from that disease, protect that person from that activity, unhuman activity. And we arrange Thoil, and Dahata Sanniti. We are also Sannis, no? Dahata Sanniti. And here we had we design this cover also using a devil face. See, this devil face. We use this type of devil face to reduce that type of system. Okay, so that is the theme idea, and even many folk folklore idea. Folklore is the extreme level of creativity in the our ancestors, past peoples, extreme level of traditional communication systems creativity. That is the folklore idea. According to that thing, examples for the folklore thing is folk poetry, folk tales, folk rites and rituals. That type of idea. Okay, like that heroism, regional beliefs, because big basics are formed. Okay, so according to the idea, recently I told you, happiness we can see, happiness, sadness, okay, sensitiveness, sensitive, brave ideas, bravery, okay, and sometimes fear, this type of things, theme ideas, okay. So you have to highlight that. Next thing, next topic capture. According to that second page, you have to move. In the second page, we can see next type of characters. What it? It's flexibility. Flexibility. Reason I told you what is flexibility. Flexible. Flexibility means what thing? We can develop some systems according to the situation anytime, anywhere, no problem. We can change anytime. Nowadays, we use some technologies and we can use that past characters, that type of unhuman, ghost characters, that type of things. We can use that type of things for nowadays creations. Okay. Ancient beliefs, ancient characteristics, ancient characters, ancient ghosts, devil characters, unhuman characters, incidents. Sometimes we can use that type of incidents also for this thing. Okay. So after that, what is the idea about this? This means that traditional communication methods can be customized. Yeah, see, customized means a change idea. Okay, customized according to the needs and requirements. Our needs, requirements depend on the situation. Sometimes it's positive type needs, sometimes negative type needs. It depends on the system. Society always change. No? Diversity is everywhere. Okay, and it suddenly changed according to the needs and requirements. So flexibility is that idea. Sometimes culture change. This flexibility also depend on that thing. It's changed sometimes. This means using the field, freeholds, trees, etc. Okay, according to the needs and requirements. Okay, even old folk stories or tunes can be used suit today. This I told you. Karasarapa film. Okay, and the Ravana film. India also have that. Hmm? Bahubali thing. Hmm? Just brave ideas comes with that thing, but they use that type of characters, the past ideas. Ramayan, Rama, Ravana, see that type of things. That characters nowadays also they use for some creations. Okay, that's the point. Even old folk stories or tunes can be used to suit today. That is an example of this. New songs made from old folk poems. See, nowadays you also can see them in Sri Lanka also there and India also. Other countries, European countries also they use. The Shakira's, that Samina Mina, that thing, Waka Waka thing. Waka Waka thing is for that Africa, that World Cup idea. And they develop that songs, they arrange that, create that songs using ancient folk poetry, folk songs that they have. They use that thing for the new technological that type of track. and they add new technological track, and they use that samina, that words, folk words, and they redevelop a new song as very trending song, theme song for the World Cup. Okay, so that also a flexibility exam. You can use that in the syllabus because you have to prove that thing. Sometimes they ask to explain this type of question using a one example or two examples. If you use that type of examples, they give marks because you know that they know after that thing, you know about this thing and you know the examples also about that. That's good, no? Uh, After that thing, new songs made from old folk poems. You can get these new movies made using historical events, see, and models can be made to be used as a legacy for the future generation. Legacy for the future generation. Why we use this type of things in the future? We have the idea about the value of this type of things. These type of things are very valuable, so we have to use in the future. That's the thing. Can be changed sometime. Can be said to be flexible at any time. We can change anything anywhere, no problem. But it's the flexible idea. Okay. Now move to the next one. Okay. Flexibility. Flexibility is dependent on the occasion. Nah? You have to think about that, right? Occasion. And it's dependent on the needs and requirements. Okay. Requirements. Think about that. So the next thing we have to move our thing. Cultural context, right? Cultural context idea. Cultural context idea. Recently, I told you what is culture. According to the now you have your fifth lesson is culture. Okay. After this, you have that this lesson have four topics. No. Next weeks we discuss about that topics also. Okay. And today traditional culture, cultural media, that thing, and after that thing, the creations that we can see. Two things are today. Next thing, next week we discuss about the other three, other two, four things after that thing. So after that thing, you can understand about the traditional communication importance. Then you move to the mass communication idea. So fifth lesson is culture and the impact of media, mass media. According to that point, culture is what thing? It's a distortion in a state of recovery. That is the point. Culture. Okay. Culture. Culture words actually comes with that Latin word. Okay. Latin. Latin word. Latin word is what? Cultus. Cultus means what thing? Cultus means similar idea we can get. Cultus. It's a cultivation. Cultivation. Okay. Planting. Okay. Restore. Okay. Creating. That type of ideas. Cultures have that idea. Okay. That's why the cultures after years ago, uh, in English language, we can see in English language, in English, we can see what thing? It become culture after that. Culture also same idea is this thing. Cultivate something, plant in something, restore something, create something. Okay. Not only the plants, trees, okay? They planting sometimes art, knowledge, okay? Some traditions, okay? Some systems. So culture is something like that. So culture context means what the reason I told. Context means the background, no? Background, surrounding also. Background, surrounding also there. And environment also we can use. Environment. So culture context means the background of the culture, background of the any other culture. So culture context idea, what type of things? Read this thing. Culture context means the use of customs, taboos. This means that traditional ideas, taboos, faiths, beliefs, art, and techniques are there, and the knowledge systems according to the relevant culture. And the culture context of the traditional forms of communication vary according to their professions, situations, and the needs. That's the point. You have to highlight that thing. Huh? And after that thing, for the example, customs regarding providing entertainment and greetings and blessing could be cited. That's the point. Okay. There is a different environment that develops with the culture. It's any traditional communication. That's the point. It affects everything in art, literature, and if you take the communication methods that and were used in those times. Even if you take them like a drum, human voice, and the fire sound, that type of ideas, and have reason or the environment has affected them. That's the thing. So culture context, culture means that type of idea. Culture idea is that restoring something, cultivate something, planting something in somewhere. And this type of idea have so many things, language, techniques, that type of idea. So this the thing. And minimum cost is next idea. Minimum cost. Minimum cost means what idea? Minimum cost means that recently I told you that eco-friendly systems, eco-friendly ideas. Okay, eco-friendly system and minimum cost idea, and we can get some materials from the environment. That idea also very connected. That is the point. And after that, the minimum costing have some low cost idea. Low cost idea. It means we don't want to pay much more money for any type of. It means marketing things or any other things. So minimum cost idea have this idea. Is we have to read that thing. Traditional forms of communication often use resources available from the environmental minimum cost. In this case, the exchange of ideas also provides an opportunity at a lower cost. For example, okay, working together to arrange a period. See, okay, we use this type ideas not only for the profit. We use this thing for the blessings. That's the point. Okay, and spirit, the toil and conduct gammadu. That thing also blessing thing idea, protection idea. Minimize the workload. With this, we can save a really big cost on the matter of procuring resources. Okay, from the environment, no technology. Recently, I told you, traditional communication systems, there's no any technological things. Most of them are non-technological things. Huh? Because eco-friendly. have been used for any of the traditional elements of the past. Very natural things are used. They are things like mask, clothes, music, stage, lighting are mostly taken from the environment. Also, coming to the traditional sermon, praise, chants, Shanti Karma is for help and not for money. That's not for money, not for money. That's not for money. It's always used only for what thing, what type of things. Just for some time blessing, okay, protecting, protection, okay, and helping someone. That's the point. Okay. Minimum cost have that idea. That's the point. Okay. After that thing, you have to highlight that no money idea. The mask, clothes, music, stage, lighting, that type of things also get that thing from the environment. No? That's why it's become a sometime of a eco-friendly idea. That type of things we can get that thing for the environment, so we don't want to pay some money for that idea. So after that thing, next idea. In addition to these facts being folk based, offering trust and respect, general acceptance. So this type of idea. Okay. In this addition to these facts being folk based means that traditional communication cultural idea. Okay, based offering trust and respect. It always use that respect and sometimes trust, that type of idea. Okay, and general acceptance, common good, traditions, heritage idea. Sri Lanka also heritage. So many things we have, like heritage values we have. Local cultural identities are there. Facilities also there. Use etc. Can be mentioned as the characteristic of the traditional media. And therefore, traditional communication is something that has an identity. It is a very creative thing of its own kind. Things like these are passed down from generation to generation, generation to generation, generation to generation. Generation to generation means what idea? Generation to generation. It means that recently I told you they always use oral communication. Oral communication system, oral communication system to generate the ideas to next generation. It's actually they always want to share their knowledge to next generation. That is actually they use that thing like a help for each other's help for the next generation of people's our next future. It's actually that very positive attitude is there, positive idea is there, not any harmful idea. Okay, and after that thing, uh, in here, see, can be mentioned as the characteristic of traditional media, and therefore traditional communication is something that has an identity. You know, identity, uniqueness is there. Most of the traditional communication systems, traditional culture, and that type of creations have unique characteristics. In the next topic is for the creations. No? In that time, we can explain this type of characteristic. What are the difference between folk poetry, folk tale, folk drama, and rites and rituals? That type of things we can compare that ideas using some characteristics and examples. Okay. And things like this are passed down from the generation to generation. This idea, oral communication systems they use to transmit their systems to the next one. Okay, things like right, and many traditional communication methods are used among us. Some of them are as follows. That's the thing. That's the point. Okay, that's the point. So think about that idea. Okay, so after that thing, that's the point. So after that thing, traditional communication methods are used among the some of them are as follows. For the first thing, folk songs or folk poetry is there, and secondly, folk tales there. Okay, according to that thing, this one a folklore idea. Okay, folklore. Reason I told you folklore, folklore. Folklore means what thing? Folklore means what thing? Folk means that old idea we know, but folklore is not only a non-malleable thing. No, no, no. According to this thing, we can see what type of thing here. No, folk songs or poetries we can see. Hmm. Second one, folk tales are there. Folk rites and rituals are there. Folk drama is there. So many things are there. According to that point, and what is folk idea? Folklore means there are so many things like this type of folk poetry, that type of idea. Folklore, something like extreme level of creativity, extreme level of creativity by ideal people's ideals in the past. Okay, in the past. Extreme level of creativity by the ideas in the past. That is the folklore idea. Okay, folklore, something like that type of idea. So, according to that extreme level of creativity, we can see this type of creations they develop. Folk songs are there, folk tales are there. Okay, folk tales are there, folk tales are there. Okay, folk rites and rituals also there, folk drama also there. That's the thing. So this type of things we can so creativity is extreme level of creativity by the ideal peoples. Ideal peoples. It means ancestors, okay? Ancestors. Think about that idea. So according to that thing, we can see some characteristics according to that folk poetry, folk tales, that type of idea. And we can see some differences between these type of ideas. And according to this handout, okay, according to this handout, uh, we can discuss folk poetry and sometimes they use folk songs idea. You know that in Sinhala we can say Paru Kavi, Patal Kavi, Pal Kavi, Gal Kavi. Uh, and children lullabies, Nalavili Kavi. According to any other type of cultures and any other countries also have this type of folk poetical ideas. And according to that thing, what is folk poetry? That's the thing we have to discuss. Okay. The next page, and you hand out third page. Please move to that one. Folk songs and folk poetry. That is the point. So folk songs or folk poetry. You have to correct something in there. The second title also like folk poetry, folk songs. Please cut that thing. And at there, that second title is not the folk poetry. That title is actually folk tales. Okay, folk tales. So folk songs. Firstly, we can discuss. Hmm. Folk songs. So many folk songs. Recently, I told you that Pal Kavi, Gal Kavi, that type of things. Sri Lanka also have so many things. India, other countries also have that type of things. They use that language, ancient language, so active language they use, and they use that thing and they develop this type of folk poetical idea. Folk poetry really helpful to express our ideas to someone in a creative format, creative way. It has a rhythm. It has. It's a rhythm and some rhyming words they use to express some feelings to someone, emotions maybe. So think about folk poetry and folk songs, same idea, but folk poetry or folk tales, folk songs have so many emotional things, feelings, more emotional things, more feelings. They use more feelings to express this thing. Sometimes educational idea, sometimes society socialization idea, sometimes very sensitive ideas, sometimes the happiness, sometimes the fear, sometimes the bravery idea, sometimes knowledge, sometimes education, knowledge, and some things, socializations, ideas. That type of things they use in the folk poetry format, but that's very creative, very rhythmic flow. So, read with me this passage, okay? Folk poetry is the creation of value in the rural environment. It's a value, creative value, folk poetry, traditional value is there, but that value comes with that their needs and requirements depend on that thing. No? After that thing, it communicates the villagers' views of life. See, rural areas, recently I told you culture context, that thing. Culture comes with that cultus idea, no? It comes with the Latin format, Latin word. Latin word is cultus. Cultus means what thing? Cultivation something, planting something, developing something, grow something in a society. That's not only a plant, tree. That means something art, creativity, tradition, that type of things. No? Think about that idea. So that folk ideas they use in this folk poetry thing and villagers' views of life, their needs, their requirement, their system, how they live in that area. We can imagine that thing using from this folk poetry idea. Their beliefs, see, their faiths, their needs. Professional information is not like profession means actually they don't use academic ideas. They have simple lifestyle, simple needs that they have. No? This professional information means not that academical idea. That type of ancient people, ideal people do so many works, agro farming things, planting, that type of things, harvesting, that type of things. No? And according to that professions, they develop some ideas as a poetry. They use some experience, their professional experiences as a poetical idea. So why they use this type of professional informations to develop this type of poetry? Because they want to express their feelings, they want to express their knowledge to the next generation freely. Okay, because they don't want any money. They want the only thing they want, what thing? For the future goods. If someone come to this type of profession, they have to know about the hardness, they have to know about the problems in this type of professions. Okay, it's very hard sometimes that people are very hard working people. Nowadays, people have so many simple systems. No? Nowadays, most of people are very lazy. Why? Because they have so many technological things. They always use AI system, Chat GPT, Google Gemini, and they easily can do anything. But in the past, they are knowing technology. No, recently I told you, non-technological, authentic, eco-friendly system. According to that point, how they use technological things in there. So think about that's why that's why they always try to develop this type of simple types of things. Okay, they want to develop the next future and they want to express their knowledge to next future generation. Okay, knowledge is their traditional wisdom also there. Leisure, leisure activities, free thinking, happiness, that type of things. Rest, rest. And joy is also there, sorrow also there, fear also there, sensitiveness also there. So many things are there. And sometimes suffering, anything, the lifestyle, it's simple things have some problems or something happens. Sorrows and sufferings are there. Other things, some ideas also there. Expectations are there, etc. It's not really possible, okay, to let when these are formed and you can't even see the authorship. Recently, I told you, no authorship is there. It means what idea? No authorship means we can't see any type of originator or developer or creator according to this type of folk tales or folk or something. We can't see that type of things. That's why there's no authorship idea. No author means no creator. We don't know that creator. There's a creator, but we don't. We don't know that creator means they never tried to put their names under the folk poetry or something. It means what thing? They never develop this type of things for the profit. Always they use this thing for the help, like a help for the society, not for the profit. Okay. And after that thing, see some characteristic we can see in the code in that folk poetry idea. The following are some of the characteristics that are found in traditional communication techniques of folk songs. But the first thing is what? Based on oral traditions. Based on oral traditions. Oral traditions means that oral communication system we can use. No? Recently I told you, orally we can express that thing for someone. That's the idea. And second thing, usage of simple colloquial languages. It means something regional language we can use for that folk poetical idea. And recently I told you that simple structure they use to express their feelings to someone. And colloquial language, that's regional language they use. Sometimes some languages are deactive languages, not the active languages, not standard languages. It's not standard languages they use. But they use that language for what? Because their language system also very simple. That regional language also very simple in their lifestyle, according to their lifestyle. Very simple needs, simple requirements that they have, and they use this type of regional languages to express their feelings very freely, simply for someone. Nowadays, sometimes we have some problems about the language because sometimes we don't know about that meanings actually. Like, well, some regional language, reactive language. Nowadays, we can't use that language patterns. So, according to that thing, we can't understand sometimes their facts, their things. But it's not a problem. The old ones, no?
எடுத்துட்டியா
According to that thing, we
அதை
can
read பண்றதுலையா
understand, okay, that time they use this type of language for
போட்டு
this
தாடா
type.
அவனே போடுமா அப்ப டீம் காம்படிட்டிவ்க்கு செய்ய சொல்லுவோமா
That one. No,
Oh,
in
nice.
case of author,
Oh, yeah.
as I told you, no
Good and
authorship
good.
is there. Unknown. No
அது
author.
லைட் பத்தது இல்லையே
Author remains anonymous. As I told you. Fourth one. It consists of the inherent features pertaining to relevant localities
இன்ஸ்டியூட் செட் பண்ணிட்டாரன் சொல்லி ஜப்பான்
arises based
Reject
on the
it.
needs of the common public,
அவன்கிட்ட கேளு
opportunities for improvisations, respects the beliefs, acceptance,
அவன்
uniqueness
கிட்டே அவன் விடுறா
of national culture, etc. So many things are there. Underline that thing. Huh? After get the print out for that thing, please underline that thing. What type of thing?
மாத்துங்கடா
Needs also there.
சரி எங்க போற
Needs also there.
தேவையில்ல
Public ideas also there. Opportunities also there.
எப்படி கன்செப்ட்
Improvisation, some improves also their development ideas also there. That's the thing. And after that thing, respects the beliefs also. Okay. And acceptance, uniqueness ideas also there. And the national culture, etc.
கேக்குது இல்லையா
That type of things we can use according to the
தூக்கிட்டு வந்துட்டியா அது
so think about traditional education things. Folk poetry.
இந்த பேக் இருக்கடா
And fifth one,
it
it has remained among the folk as folk for a long time.
Spotlight.
Actually, it's far expand idea. Very far expand idea.
ஸ்பாட்லைட் அந்த பில்டிங் எடுக்கடா நீ
Very
மேல்ட்ட டூடு
expand idea.
ஜப்பான் தான் எடுத்துக்கிறாங்க ஜப்பான் போவாங்க நீங்க எடுங்க அந்த லெவலுக்கு நீங்க வராதுங்க
Very far expand idea.
2.5 லட்சம் ரெண்ட் கட்டுறதுக்கு
Very far expand idea means what thing? Actually, it depends on our ancestors, our ideal people's idea. And it's
ஜப்பான்
we can get that idea from
ஜப்பான்
their
ஜப்பான்
lifestyle.
நிறைய பில்டிங் இருக்குது அதுல ஒரு துண்ணு
They have simple needs, simple requirements, that type of things. Okay.
என்னடா செய்யறதுக்கு இது
And nowadays, so
Prima
we
takan
can
nila.
use that thing, but
main
we
class
don't have that
Natural
type
right
of technique. So that type of lifestyle.
கார்ல போக
We
சொல்றியா
have now
எங்க போவோம்
advanced technological systems and very complicated lifestyle.
அட என்ன
But
content?
that fire expand thing is good. Why? After that, we can understand how they developed this type of things in the past. What are the experience that they have in the past? What are the experience that they have in the past? That is the point. So it's a really important point. So very far expand idea. Sixth one, it's based on the life experience of people. Yeah, always is depend on the experiences. What type of experiences? Is life experiences. That type of people have so many experiences, life experiences. The life experiences expressed to the other society, other generation, using this type of rhyming and poetical level, folk poetry. And last thing, one thing, author unknown. Recently, I told you, author unknown is that no authorship idea. Why the no authorship idea we can add to this thing? Because actually we don't know who are the developers of this system, folk poetry. What we know only the experiences we can see, the ideas we can see, the experience we can see, and systems we can see, okay. But unfortunately, we can't understand sometimes how they develop this type of systems. But we don't know who are they. That's the idea. But one day someone developed this thing. After that thing, it comes to next generations wise, using oral communication systems. After that thing, now also we can see that thing. Now sometimes we can get that thing and we can use that thing for our things. And flexibility we can use for that idea. After that, we can change the systems or rearrange something after that. Okay. And the last passage about that folk poetry passage, please. Last one. Authenticity, simplicity, simple ideas, okay? Brevity, and the restraint ideas. The use of colloquial languages, features, patterns of sounds and vocabulary that are closely associated with the life and aspirations of the people who are unique in traditional communication. So there are no authorship also there. Okay, but after that thing, what thing in here? Here, simplicity is there, restrained idea is there, colloquial language is also there. That's the thing. So after that thing, traditional communication also there. And there are many varieties of folk songs. And those are fellows like what happened recently I told you. Children's lullabies are there. Boat songs are there. Harvesting songs also there. Tika, Tiffany, that Tika, no? Yeah. Seepada, Andahara, that type of things also there. And yeah, Paru Kavi, Patal Kavi, yeah, recently told you. Paru Kavi, Patal Kavi. And after that thing, see, Karatta Kavi, Gal Kavi. Sinhalin can Gal Kavi kila Karatta Padinaya can. And Bambara Kavi, you know, bee honey collecting that is some ඒක අර තියෙන්නේ හරිම මේ ඩේන්ජරස් ඒරියාස් වල. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අර අපි ගමන වෙන හිල් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකෙත් අර මේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔය බීහනේ බඹරු එයාලා ඒවා මේ හදන්නේ යාළගේ කූඩු හදන්න. කූඩු කියන්නේ බඹර වදයක් නේ ඒක. ඒවා ඩිවලොප් කරන්නේ ඒක හදන්නේ ටිකක් හරි අමාරුවෙන් මේ යන්න බැරි තැන්වල තමයි ඒක ඩිවලොප් කරන්නේ. එහෙම ඩිවලොප් කරන්න හේතුව මොකද හේතුව ඒක අර ඇවිස්සුනොත් ටිකක් ප්‍රශ්නයක්නේ. ඒකට මේසින් ලඟ වෙන්න බැරි වෙන තමයි ඒක දාලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකද ඒ ප්‍රොටෙක්ෂන් එකට ආරක්ෂාවට. බට් අර මිනිස්සු දැන් ගිහිල්ලා බඹර වද කඩලා බඹර පියණි එකතු කරනවානේ. ඒක very risky වැඩක්. මොකද ඒක තියෙන අර වෙන ප්‍රපාතයක අයිනක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට දැන් ඒ වගේ තැනකට ගිහිල්ලා ඒක ගන්නවා කියලා කියන්නේ එකක් වෙන වැඩක්. එතකොට ඒකට පොඩ්ඩක් අර මේ පොඩි බ්‍රේව් එකක් තියෙන්න ඕන. බ්‍රේව් අයිඩියා එකක් වශයෙන් ඒක යන්න ඕන. එතකොට ඒකේ රිස්ක් එකක් තියෙනවා. ලයිෆ් රිස්ක් එකක් එතන තියෙනවා. එක්කෝ බඹරු යනලා මේ බඹරු සාමාන්‍ය 7 දෙනෙක් විතර නම් මොන ගන්න අයිබිස වගේ කියලා කියනවා. එක්කෝ එහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්තම් බඹර වදෙන් ඔය අනින්න කියලා බේරෙන්න යනකොට වැටිලා ප්‍රපාතයෙන් පල්ලයට වැටිලා මැරෙන්න පුළුවන්. So that risk is there, no? So they develop this poetry with that risk, with that emotion. They use that emotion to express this idea and the risk about that profession. Recently I told you that professional information also there, no? Professional information means not the manual or not the academic idea. No. They develop this idea for what thing? What are the professions that they do in the past, and that some professions have some risk. So this type of things actually explain what type of risk that they have in that according to that profession. Okay. So Babaraka, ek honda example like if you want to explain that thing, you can use the no problem. Okay. After that thing, Maruka Patal Kabi Karataka Bambar Kabi. They can be taken as an example. That's the point. Okay, no? That is folk poetry idea, the first thing. Now you go to the second point. Second point means folk tales. Actually, you have to cut the folk poetry word and please write down folk tales in there. Okay? Folk tales in there. Folk stories also same idea. Okay? Write down in there. Folk tales, folk stories. That's the thing. Okay? According to this thing, folk stories, even the Andare, Mahadana Mutta, that type of things we can see in the Sri Lanka. No? In India, also Mahabharata, Ramayana, that type of things also stories there. And Nasruddin, that type of stories also there. Aladdin, Ali Baba, and 14 Thieves or something. That stories are there. Fairy tales are there. Russian tales are there. Indian folk tales are there. Chinese folk tales are there. So many things are there. All the folk tales have some ideas and themes. And sometimes some themes are very entertaining type ideas. Some things actually bravery ideas are there. Some stories have educational ideas. Some stories try to develop the logical thinking, curiosity, and that type of skills for you. Some stories try to develop some happiness in your life, mindset, and relaxation for your mindset, that type of things. Some stories are very religious ideas are there. Some stories try to develop very aesthetic ideas in your life, in your lifestyle. So stories means stories. Stories have some characters. Characters. And I recently told you Andare, Mahadana Mutta, that type of things. The characters are characters. Okay. They develop some characters. They use some characters. That characters they use to express to the society. If you are this type of character, or if you want to live in the society, the good man or positive man or that type of thing, use this type of people's behaviors, attitudes for your life. But sometimes some characters not like positive ones, they're negative ones. That type of characters don't use. This type of characters behaviors don't use in your life in now. If you read this thing, you can get some ideas. If you heard this story, you can get some ideas, but don't use this type of characters behaviors in your life. Why? This type of things are negative. This type of things are positive. Now, according to Andere things actually are very comedy things, entertaining ideas are there, no? But Andere is it's like a joker, but not that type of silly jokes. Okay, joker idea, but that character very logical. Okay, he used that type of things like a logical ideas. Okay, so actually, Andare's stories are very entertaining ideas, but comedies are there. But that comedy idea, that entertaining idea, have a logical idea also. So, in fact, that subtext idea, text we can see is like a very funny comedy idea. But the subtext you can follow if you have the curiosity, if you have the criticism, if you use your literacy. After that, you can understand, okay, these characters are not like joke actually. This character can develop a logical thinking, no? That's the point. So, characters sometimes use. As sometimes they use some incidents. Sometimes they use that incident. Sometimes they use some experiences. Sometimes they use. We don't know the creators of the tales, no. But someone developed that thing. They use some beliefs. They use some unhuman characters to express the ideas to the next generation. That's the thing. So folk tales is a story idea. You know, folk tales have a very unique type of characteristics. It's called narrative type. Narrative type. What called narrative? In Sinhala we can say Ajnana Vedane. Ajnana Vedane. Narrative type idea means what thing? It means it's a flowing like a story. What? Flowing like a story. Flowing like a story. It means like a step by step idea, and you can get the in the past ideas of the mid, ideas of the ending point. First and the start, mid, and the ending points are connectivity we can see in there. And it's flowing like a story. අර අපි කියන ඊට පස්සේ මොකද උනේ ඊට පස්සේ. So continuously story ongoing. Okay. So that thing flowing like a story idea is a narrative idea. That's the point. After that thing, we can see some other characteristics, same like the oral transmission idea, same to the tales also. And simple language usage, provincial colloquial language usage, that also for the folk tales, we can see that thing. Some narrative thing is the only for the folk tales. Other folk creations don't have that characteristics. So that's a unique one. You have to highlight that thing. Okay. After that thing. So read this passage. Folk tales are a communication practice that has existed among people for a long time. It's something that has been passed down from generation to generation with life experiences formed with beliefs. Beliefs means God beliefs, devil beliefs, ghost beliefs, unhuman character beliefs, sun, moon, trees, rocks, that type of beliefs also they are. They worship that in the past. Sometimes simple. Yeah, sometimes very simple idea. I recently told you simple needs, simple words, simple characters, simple format, simple rhythm, simple experiences, simple knowledge facts that they use to develop this type of characters, not the characters creations. Okay. And after that thing, see, sometimes mysterious characters also there. Ghosts, unhuman characters, devils. Folk tales are set in a manner that the middle. See, recently I told you that starting point is there, mid point is there, ending point is there. Continuity always is there. That is the narrative idea. Okay. And the end related to an incident well integrated in the story to reflect and express the lifestyles, aspirations, desires, suffering. See, this type of things we can see same in the folk poetry also. In the folk poetry also we can see this type of characteristics. So same, simple things to that day life. Their life actually needs and requirements very simple. No? Simple needs, simple requirements, and the happiness, joy, sorrow, sensitivity, that type of things. You use the past. Called same like that. Okay. And after that thing, this is suffering and explorations also there of the common people. Common people means ordinary people, same public. No? And there are different types of folk tales we can see. Those are creative stories. See, recently told you that fairy tales idea, Russian stories, Chinese stories, that type of things was there. But in the exam, they asked some categories about the stories like this. What? And see, those creative stories are there. Stories of animals, stories of gods, we know. Okay. And the stories of plants also there. I recently told you that sometimes they worship to some trees also. And stories of magical ideas are there. Stories of wonders are there. Human stories also there. Statistical stories also there. Fairy tales, etc. The following are some of the characteristics that are found in folk stories. Same like that folk poetry also, we can see some characteristics. No? Recently, I told you some characteristics in the folk stories and the folk poetry are same. Something are different. Stories first characteristic is flows like a series. Flows like a series idea is the idea recently I told you. What thing? This narrative idea. Narrative ideas. Narrative. Narrative. It means flowing like a story. Flowing like a story, that is the idea. Okay, no? That's the narrative idea. What is that thing? Based on different characters, events, experiences. Characters. After that thing, events and experience. Events means issues, we can issues and experience also there. Okay, that is there. So, based different characters. Recently I told you that Andre, Mahadanamutta, and Nasruddin. That type of characters are the characters type idea. In the exam, if they ask to explain this type of what type of characters or something, you can use this type of characters. And you know the examples about that thing also. No? And even some issues and some decisions in the some ideas of the kingdoms we can see in the past. No? And some kings are there. There are decisions. There are ruling systems. Connections in the society. That depends also we can use that experience means what thing. Some people have rare experiences like that gods experiences, devil experiences, that unhuman characters, some activities, some spiritual, not spiritual, some supernatural type activities. And we can't see that thing because it's virtual, unhuman idea. But actually, sometimes some experience we can use to develop some stories. And some folk stories develop for what thing? It can develop the education level, okay. It can do literacy, okay. It can develop some socialization idea, okay. But sometimes some folk stories develop according to the protection idea. Some folk stories, why they develop to protect the people from some characters, some incidents. Recently told you Mahasona, Kalu, Kumarya, that type of character, Mohini, that type of characters in the story, why they develop that type of characters? Because after evening that 7, 5, after 6 or 7, go somewhere, the dark, everywhere dark, no night, no evening time, no. Go somewhere. It's sometimes some people don't like for that thing. In the past, people's ideal people say, and evening time, night time, you eat some meat or something. After they don't go outside. Some unhuman characters are there, something effectful. Some people go outside because they don't believe about that thing. Actually, sometimes we can't believe about that thing. But something is there. Without knowing anything, we can't argue something. Actually, we can't argue something without any knowledge about that type of concepts or something, because that really ancient people, ideal people have that spiritual idea. They always think about it, always depend on nature, natural things, environment, and they think about that type of things. Actually, sometimes it's correct. According to our experience also, sometimes correct. But most of people don't believe that thing. Okay. So they say, don't go outside. To me, after eating meat or eggs or something, high that are meats, don't go outside. Some people don't believe that thing. That's why they develop some stories. After that story here, that people also have idea. Okay, I heard about that type of story. That story says this type of idea. So yeah, I don't want to go outside because I heard some stories about that thing. Unhuman characters, devils, that type of things. So it can protect the society also, not only the education, not only entertaining someone. Motivation also there, education also there, and sometimes it can protect the people also. That's additional point. Okay. After that thing, uh, third one, there is a variety of regional languages. Recently, I told you colloquial languages is there. Some folk stories use regional languages. It has that type of idea. Automatically, we can say diversity according to that regional idea, regional language usage. And not standard language they used in the past, but not standard is also okay because all the people can understand that thing because it's simple one. No? Not very much literacy things in there, literature thing in there, and not complicated words, complicated meanings not in there. All people can understand that thing. That's the point. And after that thing, regional language used, yes. And fourth, an oral communication system also used. Oral communication. Recently I told you, it's generation to generation work, no? In transferring to generation. So generation to generation idea comes with oral transmission systems. Oral transmission system. Orally. Orally. Using our words. And we use that words to express these feelings, to express these ideas to someone. Our next generation. Okay. That's the point. Think about that again. After that thing, fifth one, creates fantastic fresh concepts. Fantastic fresh concepts. Always you know, creation have three main qualities. Three main qualities. It means three main qualities means first thing wonderfulness. Second thing is imagination, imaginative idea. Fourth thing is third thing is uh, sometimes freshness ideas. So wonderfulness, freshness, and imaginative ideas. That type of ideas are the creations. Okay, creation have three qualities, three characteristics mainly: wonderfulness, freshness, and imaginative. If something like that, that type of things are creations. Okay, so according to that thing also here, fantastic fresh concepts we can see according to that thing. Last one, author unknown. Author unknown means actually recently we talk about that thing. We don't know who is the creator about this type of tales also. Poetry also same like that, tales also same like that. We don't know. But actually it's not a problem because they always develop this type of things for the help to the next future, no? Not for the their goods, their profits or something. But they only think about their self-satisfaction. Because we never lie to the society. We always try to help the society. We always try to help the next generation. Uh, and after that thing, they express their knowledge to someone, their future, that the future things. And children's that next generation can understand how they developed this system in the past. They don't know only the only thing they don't know about the who is the creator. but they can understand the feelings, they understand the knowledge, they can get that knowledge and they can use that knowledge to develop their systems. That's good. So that's the last folk creation today we discuss. So next day we have to discuss another two folk creations. That means that folk drama we have discussed next day. And next thing, folk rites and rituals and rituals also there. And Sokari Kolam Nadagam, that type of things we can discuss this thing and other South Indian ones also there. Folk rites and rituals that Shantakarma thing, Dahata Sanni, that type of things. Unhuman characters, goat and that type of things. We can get that idea from here. And today we discussed the folk poetry idea firstly. Secondly, we discussed about that folk tales ideas, to stories or tales. Okay. According to that thing that these folk creations also according to the folklore. No? Folklore is what the reason I told you. Folklore means the extreme creativity level of the past peoples. It means ideal peoples. These are the examples for that time. Okay. And before that thing we discuss what is traditional communication idea. What is traditional communication idea? Traditional communication means it's something like authentic, very simple, non-technological, very flexible, and very co-friendly system. Traditional communication system have two forms. What are two forms? Two forms are audio form and visual form. Audio form and visual form. Audio form and visual form means what thing? Audio, we can see hooting, our human voice, sounds, horns, drums, bass, that type of things. Visual form means fire, smoke, symbols, that type of things. Okay. And that's the point. So after that thing, we discuss five main characteristics and some other three are there. First thing is simple character, simple structure is the first characteristic about the traditional communication. And second thing is thematic content is there. Sorrow, joy, bravery, that idea is there. Third thing actually is very flexible. Anytime we can change that thing, okay? After that thing, cultural context is there. Culture means the restoration is state of recovery, that is the point. Every culture have a language, traditions, there are systems that traditional communication also depend on that thing. Last one, minimum cost idea. Minimum cost means actually we don't want much more money for pay money for the anything, marketing or something. And always it's depend on the nature, no? And automatically we can develop next characteristic like eco-friendly. Eco-friendly means what thing? Eco-friendly means it's always there's no any harmful thing for the society. Always is really helpful for society, and it depend on nature. Another thing is we can get so many materials from the society. Society means nature. We can get so many things from the nature and we don't want much more pay for the marketing or any other factories or manufacturers or whatever it is. We don't want to pay much more money for that thing. All the things are depend on the nature. Last thing is no author. No author, unknown. We don't know. Actually we don't know who are the developers of the folk poetry, tales and rituals, drama things. Reason is they don't want any other profit from these things. They don't try to put the names under this type of creations. They just only want the blessings, sometimes satisfaction, help it to society. That's the point. So that's the today lesson. Today lesson we discussed traditional communication and the folk creation ideas. Next day we discuss about the folk creations, two folk creations, folk drama and folk rites and ritual things. So hope to see you guys in next Friday. Next Friday we discuss that folk drama and rites and ritual things, and after that importance of the traditional communication. Okay. See you next time. Good night, all of you.